It's time for Transport Line, the program that showcases the contributions of all modes of transportation to the socio-economic growth and development of our country, Africa, and the rest of the world. Transport Line is being beamed to you from the Center of Excellence, the state of aquatic splendor, and Africa's second largest economy, Lagos. I am Shino Elegbede. Glad to know that you are keeping us company. Few episodes ago, Transport Line was at the forefront of the discussion on the issue of Jet A1, that is aviation fuel, because then it was a critical period when airline operators, the local branch, threatened to more or less shut down in terms of grounding all the local aircrafts because of the running cost then, skyrocketing cost of aviation fuel. How far has things been? We keep you abreast of this because from investigation, Transport Line believes that there is no light at the end of the tunnel from the way things are. But it is not all gloomy news from the sky blue economy of the Nigerian sector, that is the Aviation and Aerospace Development Ministry. It's been good news as regards how Festus Keyamo, SCN, has been making sure that everybody is in our toes to make sure that we keep on making progress. So we're going to kick off with the issue of the resolution of over or almost 20 years, 2 decades of federal government and boycotting federal government and boycotting misunderstanding, quote and unquote, as regards MM2. The resolution and what will be the impact on the aviation sector. Well, I have with me on set one of our most amiable consultants in terms of aviation sector, Olumide Onwayo, who is also the scribe of the Aviation Roundtable and Initiatives. Olumide, you are welcome to the program, Olumide.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, Olumide, like I said, it's not issue of bad, good news, but it's a comme ça as regards what is going on in the aviation sector now. But let's kick off with the resolution of the Nigerian federal government and boycotting company, which is owned by Babalakin SCN. How do you think it's going to impact on the local aviation sector?
Thank you. Good evening, listeners, Lagosians, and those who have been using the sky blue economy to travel. You started with saying the critical period. I don't think that critical period has ended since the U.S. and Iran are yet to agree on opening the Strait of Hormuz and the blockage to Iran's ports. So the crisis is on, and the international price is still jumping up. It has moved about 104 this morning. Yeah, so that's critical phase. Is
Dollar?
Yes, per dollar for a barrel. For a barrel.
Per barrel.
Per liter. Everybody will leave this country now.
No, I'm
okay.
talking about...
Yes, so that's that situation, but we'll get to it as part of the discussion later. Okay. But coming to the issue you have raised, if there's something I would give to the present government is the ability to end that 20-year quagmire called the MM2 airport terminal in Lagos, which is the first private terminal, and I think about the best airport terminal in Nigeria at the moment. You know, for 20 years, this is a terminal that was supposed to be given back to the government as part of the concession. But once you take over some of the government properties, this is not owned, you're supposed to be paying back. And in the last 20 years, the Nigerian government have not collected a dime from that airport. From that terminal. And that terminal itself, you know, they recently increased a parking fee there to about 3,600, and that customers were complaining. Once you stay above a minute, even while you are working with their POS and the delay, you are paying the 3,000 for that 3 seconds after 1 hour because it's automated. So And you can see that this money is coming and nothing has come to the government, who is supposed to be the owner of the airport. But then do you have to blame the owners of MM2, the chairman,
Balaki,
Barrister Babalakin,
SAN.
SAN, went to court, and he took the case all the way to Supreme Court and got a judgment of about 162 billion naira. Government definitely don't have that kind of money to pay and would not pay anyway. The government would not pay. So with that judgment in his hands, he was able to hold that and say, well, if you don't pay that judgment, then I will not
pay
remit
any kobo to you.
any money to you. And how did he get the judgment? Somewhere along the line, some people representing us, Nigerians, at that time, went ahead and signed that exclusivity to him to operate that MM2 terminal and for the next 30 years. And that the other terminal in the local airport, but which is the GAT, that he should also control it. And during that period, that there will be no building of any local airport within
around
200 kilometers from this airport, which tentatively affects the
Lekki
airport of the
being
Lagos
Lagos
State government.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how would somebody sign a commercial nerve center of a country like Nigeria. Lagos is the economy. Lagos is like California. Then you ask one man to control the domestic airport. And it was during that period that it was also giving the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to concession. So if you cannot land in his airport and you go and land in Ibadan, they can even block you from entering Lagos by blocking you through the toll gate. When there's no law, when there's no regulation, you allow this to happen. And until when we begin to bring back public officials to come and face consequences of their actions, we will not stop this irritating and debit-reading behavior of public officials who come take positions as ministers and head of government and allow this. Who signed that deal? Who approved it? How did the Federal Executive Council approve such a deal that has come back to haunt us for the last 20 years? And because that deal did not work, because foreigners were saying that if you could do this to a fellow Nigerian and you have this kind of crisis, what would happen to me that I am not a Nigerian? So it was difficult to bring investment. We were pushing everything about the category 1. We are having scoring ICAO safety audit by passing. We just got the result now.
Yes.
91.4%.
Yeah.
Which is
From
the
ICAO.
highest.
Yes.
Which is highest. The average is about 70 something, which just scored 91.4. You know, and all these are supposed to things that are supposed to attract investors. But why will we come in when it's not sure that the law, the rule, the judiciary, the system will be obeyed and will protect this investment? And looking at the one that is on ground, how would you think? But I'm happy that the barrister Festus Keyam, who was appointed by Mr. President, who is also a lawyer, son, and a member of INABA, like Babalaki, we are able to meet behind and come to a resolution that this cannot continue this way. It's a case of a bed hanging on the wire. The bed is not comfortable, neither is the wire. So I think that I just hope, because up to this moment, we have not heard from the Babalaki team. We have heard from the minister who said they were going to sign during the week, which was supposed to be last week. They were supposed to have come out to both of them publicly to sign, and they signed it, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. But that did not happen. But I'm just hoping they're still trying to get things right so that we will not go back to what happened 20 years ago. And if you look at what they're proposing now, Babalaki is going to forget the 160-something billion naira judgment debt that is going to pay. And moving forward, it will start remitting to the government. Lagos State government can now go ahead and build the Lekki Airport. I mean that if that would have even stopped Lagos State government in the first place, right on their home soil. I don't think that contract will even stop them. But then happily, now that is clear that they can go ahead and build that. And if you are conversant with the airport, opposite MM2, there's a gigantic building, about 5-6 story building, hotel and a conference center that's been abandoned for a long time. At the time, the federal government was thinking of confiscating that property. And I personally felt it was not right. That's somebody's investment. Yeah, but it was stopped from the industry. Actually, now, go ahead, you have 2 years to complete that hotel and the conference center, and there'll be a sharing formula between the federal government and the owners of the land, the owners of the land, and by company.
Babalaki.
And I think it's a good business. It's a good business. And in addition, they've asked that the West African flights, West African West Coast flights,
Yeah, the
flights
regional
to
flights.
flights going to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire,
Benin,
Togo,
everything.
Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Gambia, and all the rest. All those flights that will now be moved to the MM2.
M2.
So moving those flights to the MM2 will now help MM2 now. They will now be generating
Revenue,
more
more
revenue,
revenue.
more revenue now in forex, because all those flights are kind of international flights, and the charges for such flights are always in dollars. Again, they're going to expand the apron. Apron is the air side of the airport, of that terminal building, so they can have more aircraft parked
land,
there.
yeah.
And once there's more aircraft parked there, that means they'll have more flights and more frequencies. And I think when they have more flights and more frequencies, that helps them with the airport, the hotel they are building, which is already there. There's already a link stairway between that hotel and the car park and the airport. So it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody. It's just shocking that it has to take 20 years of litigation, and what they've gone to court to get, and they could not get. They have not gotten it right in sitting in the room, talking to each other, talking frankly to each other, and they've gotten this result. And I just hope we will build on it, and this will not be that linchpin that will not bring investors to say, yes, Nigeria is now ready, and we are ready to accept investors, and we are actually open to PPP rather than pretending to be open to PPP and then frustrating investors. And I think that is the beauty of that. So I look forward to the implementation. First, let's look at the signing. After the signing, the hotel and the conference center, with about 5-story building, they've been given about 24 months to finish. To complete it and let it start operation. And with that, you can be sure that the statistics around that local airport will change. There'll be more businesses, and once there are more businesses, it take care of the whole aviation ecosystem, from the taxi drivers to the hotels to conference center to the protocol personnel. Everybody has something. Then you can be sure that some passengers now will now be staying close to the airport to catch their flight the next day, whether it is local or international. The high fees at the hotel at the international airport. With this one now, I think that will also bring down the cost of accommodation within the airport premises, which is presently astronomical and a bit on the high side.
That's one of the positive side of negotiation. It's better to sit down and judge
talk,
up.
yeah.
And that can only happen when you have people who have the interests of this country at the back of their mind.
Yes.
Kudos to the federal government and Barrister Babalaki, Wale Babalaki, SAN.
Commendable.
Yeah. Yes, let's come back to the issue of just more or less make a passing statement as regards the issue of aviation fuel. Yes, as long as the issue of Israel, America versus Iran war is still there, you're still going to have this problem of skyrocketing prices of Jet A1. We have Dangote here. Can't we import?
Well, the
complement
Nigerian
Dangote.
downstream, upstream regulatory agency has just approved giving some importation
Licenses.
permit to some oil marketers to import petrol into the country. I don't think aviation fuel was part of it. Presently, as at the last time I was here, what happened was that 95% of the aviation fuel produced by Dangote is exported at the moment, and is making a killing because the Europeans are booking for are requesting for it, and are paying more than what the Nigerian operators are paying, because countries that plan they've brought out their strategic reserve. They've looked at what they have, and they with what we have, we probably will not last more than 8 to 9 weeks, which is about, you're talking about maybe around June, end of June. So we need to begin to import to augment what is on ground, and ensure that they'll still have our flights are not grounded pending the resolution of the crisis in the Middle East. And with that, we cannot hold Dangote by the ball, in the sense that it is not owned by the government. It's a private organization that buys crude like every other person if he's not even getting crude from Nigeria, he's buying from outside the country. So you cannot tell him who to sell to and who not to sell to. All you can do is negotiate, give incentives, or maybe give some tax rebates, so you can keep a strategic reserve for your own industry. And I think that meeting, that tripartite meeting between the Ministry of Aviation, the AON, that AON here means the Airline Operators of Nigeria, and the petroleum regulator, was able to cover some things. Maybe let me try and recollect some of those things. One of them was that in the former deal with Dangote, the Naira for crude swap, aviation fuel was not in that deal. It was for petrol and kerosene. Now they've included aviation fuel in it. They've also asked the oil marketers to give the airlines 30-day credit on fuel supply, and that both parties should go back to the negotiating and discuss how to clear all outstanding backlogs and debt on fuel already supplied. That was done. Again, they have cut off those imaginary middlemen. Imaginary middlemen that we take from Dangote. I didn't know how that middleman came in. Take from Dangote and between the guests to the not even the airline, between the airline and the marketer. Then when that one was cut off, they now created another one between the marketer and the airline.
That's capitalism for
you. You know, between or monopolist, between the oligopolist, between the marketers. When that first one was cut off, they now created another one between the oil marketers and the airline, and that was why the price was moving to about 3,300. Now, it's understandable if you are selling that to the private jet operators, those who are carrying governors, carrying billionaires and that businessmen. But the scheduled flights that are the engine room of the economy, that carry passengers, that carry goods, they should not be in that bulk you're going to sell that. But because you see, AON is a boat that has refused to separate the weight from the shaft. Both scheduled operators and not scheduled operators, they're all together in one place. So when if you want to ask those that are driving Benz and BMW to pay at 1,700 per liter, you can ask those driving buses and Danfos and even Tokumbo Corolla to pay at 1,002. But AO needs to, at this point, separate scheduled operators from non-scheduled operators, so that when you are asking for benefit from government, it's a benefit that will go to the populace and not to benefit those who are already rich. Who are already rich. So we must find a middle ground. Again, the regulator has said that Dangote, most importantly, must now announce the amount they are selling aviation fuel every week. What is going to cost for every week? They must announce it, not keep it in there. They must announce it publicly so that everybody will know this is the amount that Dangote is selling. So you can easily prorate at what rate is going to get to those in Lagos, those in Ibadan, those in Yola, those in Abuja and other parts of the country. So that's one thing that was agreed. But like we said last time I was here, and I still think we should still look at it. Why is that anytime there's volatility in the world concerning aviation, maybe fuel or anything related to aviation, Nigeria is quickly affected. What are we doing to ensure that, like those who are buying now already have reserve, but they are still buying? We that do not have reserve, what are we doing now to keep strategic reserve for us, even when we cannot get crude oil again? Again, what are we doing to keep? There are so many refineries within Nigeria, but they are not getting crude oil.
They're not getting anything.
They're not getting anything. The modular refiners, about 3 to 4 modular refiners who are ready to start work. All they need is crude oil. So while we are looking at Dangote, we also have to look at those who are managing the crude oil supply. Why is it because government did not have a refinery? Is that why they did not keep a strategic quantity for Nigerians? And for this kind of period, these are the areas we need to also look at, and just as we're talking about airlines. But like I guaranteed last time, I said the airlines will not down tool, and they will still not down tool. What they will do, and like one of them has done, is to announce they are cutting some of the routes. Their margin flights, and their margin flights passengers are bound to meet some delays. You're bound to meet cancellations because if they could fly 30 and go on normal schedule, they can't do that anymore now because of the cost of fuel. And in doing that, so they would have to match for so that aircraft can be full. And that's why I advise personally that if you want to fly, make sure you either get the first flight in the morning or get the last flight. If anyone in the middle, that flight can be moved forward or backward. And if you just as we were discussing before coming in, you notice the Association of the National Pilots and Engineers who talked about fatigue and welfare of their members because now at this period most crew members make money from the number of flights. Most operational staff is the number of flights. Now if these flights are reduced, you have reduced the money that comes to them because at times some money are built into your operational hours than into the salary. Again, the delays and the extension of some of the flights is bringing about the tiredness and the ability to comprehend when they're excessively delayed. Some of these are some of the things that they're complaining about, that the government should please ensure that the fuel issue is dealt with and ensure that it returns to normalcy and at the good rate so that airlines can fly. And I think the government should also look at that.
Olumide Nwayo, we all have to put on a thinking cap to make sure that, like other countries that now have reserve for aviation fuel, which will find a means of providing storage facilities for Jet A1 so that we won't be caught napping next time around. Because, like you said, the crisis is still there. As long as America, Israel refuse to let go Iran too refused to let go the Strait of Hormuz. So we still have to live with it. But we keep our fingers crossed and hope that we manage and make the best of the situation. Today, we know that from Uyo you can fly to Ghana now direct, no problem. That's one of the pluses of Festus Keyamo.
Yes. Uyo has just been granted the international airport status.
Yes.
So with that, they can now operate international flights from there.
Yes.
And flights from outside Nigeria, including non-scheduled flights, can land in Uyo.
Yes. And
so you have Uyo, Port Harcourt now as the international airport in the south. You have Enugu for the southeast, and you have Lagos for southwest.
Yes. Thank you for being there for us. We keep our fingers crossed and hope that we make the best of things. Well, I want to tell you, with ministers like Festus Keyamo, SCN, no shaking.
I hope you will bring him to your program one day.
It's because of the demand schedule is so tight, and we'll try Zoom because of the weather and what have you.
I think you better allow him. He should come physically.
Yes, that's the thing. That's why we are not settling for Zoom. We want him to find a time so that I can come and we'll discuss. We have quality production.
Because I expect you're going to run 2 segments when it comes. Yes. You have a whole 1 hour.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. Any day we'll get him. We get hold of him. That's it. We thank you for being there for us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, before we draw the curtain, also remember, times is still hard. Not only in Nigeria, it's globally. But in most climes, times are better because they are very compassionate. Starting with those in governance and those people too. So being compassionate starts with you and I. Be your brother's keeper in your actions and in your pronouncement. Till next time, bye-bye for now.